Welcome to Forever Unbreakable, everybody. Tonight's a unique night. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. I got Jason Braun in the cockpit. He's gonna host tonight's podcast. So, Jason, it's all you. Take it over.
The nerves are heavy. Not really. Not really.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. I've been here before. Been in this basement a few times. Welcome to Forever Unbreakable. Tonight, I'm super stoked. I've got my man Dan Prigge here with us. Dan is a former member of the Army's elite 75th Ranger Regiment. He also has the distinction of having 2 Purple Hearts, which is, I guess, the one award in the military you never want to get. Right. But Dan, welcome.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on. So we're going to get into your story and a little bit about your military career and what you've been through. And out of all the people that we've had on this podcast, there's been some really impressive guys, some people who have overcome a lot of obstacles, but you might be the toughest son of a bitch that I've ever met in my life. Just a little bit of background. I met Dan professionally. My company was actually doing some work for some heating and cooling work for him, and my technician, Chris, former Marine, came back to me and he said, "Man, you got to know this guy." And the more he told me your story, the more things started sounding familiar. And the biggest thing that I gleaned from that was the following year at the Ruck March. I'm out walking down the road and I see a guy carrying a heavy pack with a Purple Heart pinned to it. And Chris, who met you initially, said, "Hey, that's the guy. That's the guy." So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I guess let's get into it, man. I'm dying to hear your story. I've heard a little bit about this peripherally, but not, we never really dug into it deep. So I think this now is as good a time as any. So take us back, man. I guess the first question I have for you, and I don't want to turn this into an interview, but I'm super curious. So the Army, the way that you did it is unique. Yeah,
my dad was also a Ranger. He was at the tail end of Vietnam. So it was either school. For all the brothers, it was either school or it was Army. So I joined in 2006, and I retired in 2015, so yeah. So
along that road, the majority of the guys that join the military, you've got the guys that join for GI Bill,
right.
Just want to see the world. But from my experience and the people that I know, the people that wind up in the special operations community, I usually join for something else. I usually want to go out there and get after it.
Yeah, I just wanted to be a badass, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So you were a RIP contractor. Was it RASP yet?
Nope, it was RIP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2006. So you go through basic AIT, airborne school. I was a holdover for RIP, so I went through javelin school. For 3 weeks.
Nice.
My PT score wasn't as good as the other guys to go straight through. And I went through RIP, Ranger School, and then I got stationed at Fort Bragg under JSOC, which was a sweet, pretty sweet gig.
Yes. So what'd your PT score have to be to get it to go straight through?
Above 300.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought.
So mine was like a 280 something.
Oh, my bad. I didn't introduce my other guest here tonight. Some of you may recognize the gentleman on the other side of the table. This is Will Koken. I don't know. What do you do? Something about...
nothing.
Co-founder of Forever Unbreakable. Welcome, Will.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got my man titles.
Yeah, I got my man crush over on Dan here, so I forgot you were around. I'm sorry, brother.
I got the man crush on him too.
No, I wouldn't say all that. So my first deployment was 2007, 2008. I was in the surge. As you guys know, Saddam Hussein was hung December 2006.
Yeah.
December 29th or 30th. So I got called off on DRF-1. January 2nd, 2007.
What's for the uninitiated? What does that mean?
So you're on call for 30 days, and you're packed up, ready to go. You're called in within 18 hours to deploy. So we were under JSOC at Fort Bragg. So we were attached to the 82nd Airborne Division. So we had our 30-man platoon just for the 82nd, so we can left C, right C with them for the 15 months.
30 is that's pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even for regiment.
Yeah, it was just a platoon that they sent.
Nice.
So so we just help out the 82nd.
Okay. And that was in 06?
07.
07.
Yeah.
And you went in 06, so you were green.
Yeah.
Green as can be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
I still was wiping my ass.
Yeah. So what's that like when you get on that aircraft and head out on the first deployment?
I mean,
it
was pretty scary because I was 17 when I joined in 2006, so you can't deploy when you're 17.
Right.
Yeah.
So I turned 18 in that October, and we were in rotation for January. So while we didn't know we were going to deploy, because you're on DRF1, you get called out. We got called 2 days after we got off of DRF1, so you can't go out a 50-mile radius. You can't go drinking. You can't do none of this stuff. So
It's basically like being locked down.
Yeah, right.
But you get to go home, but you're locked
all your
down.
shit's packed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
So when they say that you do your 18 hours, you get ready. Now you're already ready.
So if you were 17, so you did basic.
Yeah, AIT.
INDOC, AIT,
Yeah.
INDOC, all as a 17-year-old kid?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Man, I tell you, it's a whole new world. I remember when I was at 30th AG at Fort Benning.
I hate that place, man. That's the worst
They wake
place
you
out
up at
there.
like 3 o'clock in the morning and it's cold as shit. And you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to disappoint my dad.
That's big.
Yeah.
Pedigree is a big deal.
Yeah.
One of my good friends served in the same battalion that you did, and same story. Dad was a ranger. He just didn't see it as though he had a choice. He ended up there. So did his younger brother. So
First time I ever
pretty
seen
common.
my dad cry was when I graduated airborne school, when he pinned the airborne wings on my chest.
Oh, your dad got to pin you.
First time.
Was he nice about it?
No. They give you the blood wings.
That's legit.
But yeah, I went through straight, went on a deployment, and come May 24th, 2007, I got hit with a grenade. That was my first Purple Heart. My buddy got shot in the neck, and I went out in the middle of the street to go grab him, and he got hit by a sniper, and a little kid came in through a grenade and it hit me all over my hands, my stomach, my back, everything like that.
You know, that's pretty dark for a lot of the people that, you know, don't follow closely what we're up to overseas and in combat zones, you know, that everything's a threat.
When I'm saying little kid, he's like 12, 13 years old, you know.
God damn.
Just throws a little HME grenade. You know, he learns from his parents. He learns from everybody else. I mean, you've been over there.
Yeah.
You get blown up or something goes on, the kids are still playing soccer right down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no difference.
It doesn't slow down. Nothing over there changes.
Yeah,
It's
no.
just it's another day for them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It honestly, it turns into that for you where it's like, okay, we got blown up today, or somebody in our unit got blown up today, but it's just another day.
Yeah. The only difference
We
is
go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Until the new regulation came out where they hold you for 72 hours after you get blown up. But it's just another day.
Yeah, my first one, they tried to get us back on the road the next day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And oftentimes they couldn't because they couldn't get the trucks fixed or get a new truck up to where you were to send you off. But it used to be, before they had the regulation, it was like, you get blown up, you go back to work the next day.
Yeah.
Like, there's no off time.
And back then we had the 1151 up armored Humvees. They didn't stand for
No
crap.
MRAPs. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they just fold it in half.
I mean, you get hit. I mean, that truck's getting destroyed.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, I
Unless it's
remember
like
when I first got there, we had the Humvees that were just starting to get the first level of up armament on them. Mm-hmm. So some of them were still soft side trucks.
Right.
Like, it was fucking crazy. I'm like, who's getting that fucking thing?
Yeah.
And going down range. Like,
Yeah, we made chicken plates out of the turret. We
Yeah,
put bulletproof glass. We welded them together.
Yep.
And we put a little net over it.
Yeah.
So the snipers couldn't see the gunner.
Yep, exactly. We were doing the
I've
same
heard so
thing.
many of those stories with, you know, the shade tree mechanic armaments. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the shit worked, man. It was like when
It
they came up with in my first rotation, they came up with that rhino arm
Oh, yeah.
that
big
would
rhino.
fall down, and they just had a battery in there.
Right. It heats it up.
So it would provide heat. So it would just spin on an electric coil hot, and then it would heat up to register the same temperature as the engine of the truck. So, and they were all set at different lengths so that it would detect if the enemy was using
Infrared.
to detonate the IED, it would detonate it. And then it had chains that hung down to the road. So if there was anything outside of a pressure plate IED, it would have set off before we would hit it. And dudes would have that rhino thing hit it, and the whole IED would blow up right in front of their truck.
Right in front of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still rock their world, and some
Probably
gunners,
still disable the vehicle for sure.
and gunners oftentimes are still getting Purple Hearts because the shrapnel, it's a 155 round a lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, the shrapnel from that is so massive that like even some guys inside of bulletproof trucks get hooked up
Yeah, you're not going to get far enough behind
just because
Try
it's so
driving
big.
that bitch in the middle of the night with night vision goggles on, because they had those barriers all the time in the middle of Iraq. You know, they just have barriers, and you have to swerve with that Rhino on with your night vision goggles on.
Yeah.
I was lucky I wasn't a driver.
Dude, there's two kinds of war
that's
stories
crazy.
as far as I know. There's the ones that I listen to and I'm like, man, how did I miss that in my life? And then I hear shit like that and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good. Fuck that.
Shit like shitting in an ammo can on the side of a...
Oh, yeah, or a 5-gallon bucket on the rooftop.
Yep.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Those are the ones that suck, man.
Yeah.
That's like, you look back at it, and those are like my favorite memories. I'm like, yeah, this one time I shit in a 50 cal fucking ammo can inside the truck because we didn't want to stop the mission so I could fucking go take a shit.
Oh, I'd
on the
miss.
side of the road.
I'd miss that. I'd miss the ammo can. We would just stop and go into like a little Haji
Yeah,
shop.
no,
and-
we were straight driving down the road doing 55 miles an hour, and I'm sitting on the turret sling when it was like just a little.
Oh, yeah, the little green
3
pad,
inch,
yeah.
So we didn't even have the green pad. It was just the like
the black
seatbelt
mesh.
width.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So this is before they even had that shit, and I was trying to shit in that fucking 50 cal can.
Good thing you're skinny.
Fact. Small turds.
But it's funny. We talk about a lot of the stuff that we're into just recreationally, if that's a horrible use for that word. But we always discuss the fact that the stuff that sucks the worst when you're doing it winds up being the best memories that you have.
The best stories.
And that sounds like it's a little bit similar. So you said that was
January 2007.
January 07.
All the way to March 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, we did 15 months.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
come back.
you're 18 years old.
Yeah, I
Which
didn't
is
come back.
super crazy, too, for a regiment deployment. Because
Right.
usually you guys are...
Well, we got extended. It was only supposed to be 5 months.
Yeah, that's what I
But
mean.
we got extended twice. So the first time we got extended, we actually went back to Kuwait to Camp Buring to get ready to get back to the States. And they were like, oh, no, you're getting for the surge. Because the surge was going on.
Yeah.
And there was a, what do you call it? Fuck. What is it called? When they get a new president or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they had the elections.
The elections was going on
Yeah,
at that time, so they pushed us on, and we were doing high value target grabs. So say the 82nd or the 101st that was there. Who else was there? It was Cav Scouts were there. If they had a target or something, that's what our job was, to go and grab them. We'd work with PSYOPs.
Yeah.
And PSYOPs would get the intel on their cell phones or whatever, and we'd do a night raid or something like that. And besides doing that, we would do 5-hour patrols a day.
Man.
So just straight 5 hours. I know the first ARCOM I got, it said I did over 350 patrols in a 15-month period.
Dude, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like when we were there, the first, when I got I got an ended tour ARCOM, and it was like logged 100,000 miles in 12 months.
Right.
And I was like
That's crazy.
on mission.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? For real?
And you get an ARCOM for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a damn ARCOM.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
So you're 18 years old, under night vision, kicking indoors in Iraq.
Yeah.
So they tell you got to stick around for another what? 5 more months?
Yeah, well, it was another 10 months, but we did it twice. Yeah, 2 5-months. Yeah, so
2 5-month
it came out
runs.
to 15 months. And the shitty part was I took leave in the first 3 months, so I was overseas for 12 months straight.
Yeah.
Which sucked ass because I thought it was just going to be, a 10-month deployment because we already got the extension. They're like, oh, we'll give you leave or whatever. Yeah.
And
fucked up.
And op tempo is high. So
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
you're getting after it. It's not like you've got a mission and then you lay low for a few
Every
days.
single day. I mean,
You're out of your
sometimes we'll
damn
go to
patrols.
the green zone and we'll jump in the pool or whatever, but
The green zone's nice.
Yeah.
Like that shit, I was like, how do you get stationed here?
yeah, right. You got to be intel or something.
Yeah. working for some 3-letter agency. You know?
Right.
Tell us what the green zone is.
So the green zone's like it's in Baghdad, Iraq. It's like downtown, and it's basically where Saddam and like his government was run out of. The cross sabers are
Everybody knows about the cross sabers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the main thing.
So that's like right in the green zone or right alongside the green zone.
Yeah.
So everything cool is there. So like the only pools that I've ever seen in all of Iraq were in the fucking green zone.
Yeah.
Like when I went and shit in Saddam's palace, because
Because that's what you do.
if you're there and you have the opportunity, you
Yeah,
go do it. So I got
because
like,
America.
pictures of me chilling on his throne and shit. That's all in the green zone. And in the green zone, it's like take off all your gear, hang out. There's security everywhere.
Yeah.
Like people are by the pool. Like
bikinis.
yeah. You see chicks in
I
bikinis.
mean-
the only time in the country you'll see a chick in bikini.
Like, are we not in the
Fucking
middle of
green zone.
Baghdad?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Isn't this some kind of illegal
Like-
out here? Yeah.
2 miles before I got here, there was this little soda can IED that blew up, and we just chuckled and laughed. And now we're here, like.
Yeah. That's why I wanted you to get into that. The only reason I'm familiar with it is because my cousin Kevin, who is a Marine Corps intelligence, that's where he spent practically his whole deployment. And you know, Chris, his younger brother was just hated him for it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate him for it.
Yeah. He's like, you know, you basically didn't deploy. You lived in Saddam's palace. The funniest part that I remember was they disabled all the phones on the property, except they didn't realize there was a telephone in the elevator. So that thing was still hooked up. So all these Marines were just taking rides in the elevator to call their families all the time.
No shit.
So you get a phone call from Kevin, and are you in the elevator? Yep.
That's funny.
That's pretty fucking sweet. Honestly.
So a lot of people don't understand that's there. So,
Yeah.
But you didn't get to spend much time there. You were
We would just go there to refit, you know, just chill out for a little while, jump in the pool. It'd be like, you know, 4 or 5 hours just to hang out.
So 15 months total. At what point did you get hit the first time?
May 24th, so January, February, March, April, May, 5 months in. So May 24th, 2007.
And that was just mostly grenade shrapnel?
It was just grenade shrapnel.
What kind of injuries did you end up with?
I got shrapnel in the stomach, parts of my back. My finger got, half of it almost got taken off, and parts of my face. That's it. So they flew me to Qatar. So it wasn't bad enough to go back to the States or anything like that. Sure. And so I went to Qatar and got the shrapnel was just embedded, you know, maybe an inch in. So they took most of the shrapnel out. So that wasn't a bad part. I didn't want one for that one because I thought it was just...
I knew that was coming, but you realize that most people go through their whole life without having any metal embedded in their stomach.
Right.
Like that's kind of a big deal.
But then you're sitting next to a guy that's like 82% burnt. And you're like, man, you know, I don't deserve what this guy's going through.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Well, you weren't supposed to try again.
Yeah.
Man, funny thing is the only reason why I deployed again is because of Sergeant Major. So we were... attached to the 18th Airborne Division out of JSOC because the general for 18th Airborne Corps was the pull out of Iraq. He was in charge of the pull out of Iraq, so he needed Rangers to be his personal security. And they had an Afghanistan deployment in 2010, and 13 of their guys died. And I wasn't deploying because I was still going through mental health, and I was still going through a bunch of shit. And they were trying to med board me out for mental health because of the stupid shit. I went into his house one time and accidentally shot this 12-year-old, or 12 or 15, however old he was. He grabbed an AK-47 behind the couch, and we ended up shooting him and his father. And it really messed me up mentally. Of
course.
So I went through that, and so they were trying to med board me, and I was like, no. You know, I'm fine. I went through a bunch of that stuff. So I was burying these guys because we knew these guys. And Sergeant Major came up to me and was like, hey, do you want to be a team leader of a PSD for our deployment in 6 months? This was August, and we deployed January 22nd, 2011. And I was like, fuck yeah. I didn't even ask my wife. No. I had orders. I had orders to 5th Group at Fort Campbell because they needed some Rangers out there. And... so I already had the moving and everything like that. I already moved my house to Fort Campbell.
Damn.
And so he rescinded my orders and got my shit back and to get me on this deployment.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And when did you ship out for that?
January 22nd, 2011.
Okay.
And then the second time I got hit was May 3rd, 2011. So they both were in May. And the funny thing is I joined May 3rd, 2006 in the Army. So I got hit my anniversary date.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Saddam Hussein got hung for that first deployment, and then Bin Laden got killed May 1st, 2011, and then I got hit May 3rd, 2011. So it's crazy.
And
May rolls around, stay in your house.
Yeah. Dude, one of the dates that you just said was one of the days that I lost 2 guys on deployment 5 years before that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So all the dates just kind of flow together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the days you just said, I was like, yeah, I know that day.
Wow.
Days you never forget.
So,
brutal.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of time in between your first and second deployment.
Right.
They just nothing going, and then
no. So I was going through like Tiger Swan training. A lot of Army guys don't know what that is because it's a civilian training, but it's made from a Delta guy, and a lot of PSD guys go through it.
Yeah.
Special ops go through it. So I went through that whole training, and then I was going through the hospital quite a bit through mental health for quite a while.
Sure.
But then once I got ready to go, man, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you're You're kind of an aggressive type A guy, like to stay fit, like to fight a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
When did that all go down? You're in between deployments, you got a whole bunch of time to train and get better at violence without anywhere to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we trained out of Team Rock out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and it's a Gracie jiu-jitsu place.
Sure.
So they actually, he was the founder of SOCP, Special Operations Combatives Program for the Army.
No shit. Yeah.
So yeah, he's the owner of Team Rock. If you ever look him up. Badass dude. Greg Thompson is his name.
Yep.
Right
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I've heard the name too. Will did Army Combatives also, and that's one of the funny things for us civilians. We look at what you do in between deployments, and you just think you get that many aggressive people in the same area, and everybody loves to push themselves and beat each other up. Like that sounds like vacation to me, man. That's just exciting. That just sounds awesome.
It's a blast. It's always a blast. Yeah. For PT, that's what we used to do a lot of times is just do combatives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, there's no better. I tell people all the time, there's no better strength and conditioning workout than grappling. Period.
Yeah.
That can be jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever you're into. There's nothing better. I mean, nothing tests your body and your lateral strength and your overall cardio like
oh yeah,
grappling.
your endurance goes through the roof once you do it for a while.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, get me to do it now and I'll die. Like
and flexibility. Like
yeah.
I can stretch all the time, but if I spend a month on the mat, I will be far more flexible than if I just.
Oh, absolutely!
Stretch,
You'll go out and kill a run.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's wild.
Yeah, the cardio is crazy. People don't understand what a 5-minute round on the mat with a guy that's really good can do to you.
Yeah,
especially those guys that just have technique and keep you running the whole time. Ugh.
You hear guys, it's only 5 minutes, it's only 3 minutes of fighting. Yeah, get your ass in there and see how it goes.
Especially when you're in over your head. So I'm living that white belt life, so I'm in over my head a lot, and I find a whole bunch of I find myself getting just beat down by dudes that look like they're barely breaking a sweat, and I crawl off the mat at the end of the day, and I'm like, how do these guys do this? But just efficiency of movement. You gotta know where you stand.
Yeah.
So that was in between, and then so your assignment to 5th Group never happened.
Nope.
So you packed up and deployed again.
Yep. And we were doing personal security, so it was pretty sham job. We were just going from point A to point B. We actually had to go to every FOB in Iraq to close out the FOBs. So each FOB would close out, and the general would go there and have meetings with whoever and do the pullout. May 3rd comes around, or May 2nd, he flies off in a helicopter to go to a meeting in VBC. I'm sure you've been to VBC or Liberty.
Yep.
And so May 3rd he calls and says, hey, just come pick me up. And our dumbasses, there's rules of engagement now compared to 2007, 2008 for the surge. There was barely rules of engagement. Now there is. So we couldn't take certain routes to go pick them up, so we couldn't switch it up. So we took the same damn route every damn time. And we were on the way to pick them up.
For how long?
5 months.
5 months. So you're going same roads,
Dude,
same routes.
And that's what we used to do. When I was in like 05, like they're like, oh, mix it up, mix it up. And it's like, I'm on the road all the time because we were running supplies. And it was like, no, we're going to take the fastest way there. Like, it doesn't matter which way we're going, we're going to get blown up eventually.
Absolutely.
So like, we just want to fucking get there.
But in 2011, Baghdad was off limits to anybody besides somebody that needs to be in there. So if the general needed to go there, it was off limits to just him or whatever. So we're on the outskirts of Baghdad, and we're just sitting there driving. And funny story, I was playing with the people in the truck. Who would you fuck, marry, or kill?
Yeah. I love that game.
We were playing that in the truck when
another cocktail. We'll get into a round of that here.
Yeah.
When we were driving, and I was chatting about some girl with the first truck on the FBCB2 radio, or the FBCB2, which is a big computer system. You can send messages. He had a crush on some girl, so we were just bullshitting about her. And all of a sudden, my truck got hit with 3 EFPs. An RPG just hit the front of the truck where the Rhino is, and just barely missed us. And 3 EFPs hit my truck, and 2 hit the truck behind me. And they both burnt down to the ground, and we were getting ambushed as well. We had small arms fire, so my gunner was thrown from the turret. I was knocked out instantly, so I didn't even feel it. The only thing I remember is smelling the black smoke and the fire, and I heard rounds going off in the inside of my truck because the rounds were cooking off from the fire.
Sure.
So I was knocked out.
This is the Humvee?
No, this is actually an RG-33.
Okay.
It's a big ass truck.
Yeah.
Got it.
EFPs, it made actually a 75-foot crater in the ground.
Yeah, but for those of you guys that don't know what an EFP is, it's an explosively formed projectile, and it basically takes a big piece of sheet metal and turns it into a bullet that'll penetrate through. I don't give a shit how much armor you have.
Oh yeah,
it'll
it melts
penetrate
that metal.
Yeah, it'll go through everybody on the inside, go out the other side, still be a bullet. Like we had seen them go through both sides of a Humvee, through the entire radio mount, and they were under a bridge and then went through the bridge, through like the cement of the bridge, and fucking who knows where it went and landed after that.
So that's the truck that I
just
was
fucked up. Yeah. So
Yeah, you need to get this on the.
boom.
You could probably get one up there too. Yeah.
So I was in the front passenger seat because I was a truck commander.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it knocked you out.
Damn.
Yeah, it knocked me out. Everybody says between 10 and 20 minutes. You know, you never really know.
So when you come to, you're still taking fire at that point?
Yeah, so there's still ping, 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 and the rounds are cooking off on the inside of the truck. But the thing that got me is I looked behind me, and the truck behind me was on fire. My best friend was one of the drivers.
Jesus Christ.
We'd always tan on the rooftops and stuff like that. So, thanks. And so I was like, we got to dismount. So we dismounted. I only took 3 other guys with me, so it was 4 of us. And we bounded. It was about 500 meters away from us. So we did teams of 2. We bounded because we were still getting ambushed. So we would return fire, bounded teams of 2, then get set, and 2 more guys would come until we got to this big-ass boulder. So my knees were blown out at the time, and my adrenaline was going so crazy. I had shrapnel in my arm. I blew my patella in both knees. My tib fib was blown out in my right knee. I had left hemiparesis, a shifted spine at the time, brain leakage. And so when I got to the truck, I actually took my helmet off. And that's when my brain expanded because it was acting as a compression bandage.
It's like a cast.
And so I took it off, and the back of my head just swelled up, and that's when I just fainted. And that's when they had to medevac me. It took them 3 hours to medevac me.
So just to recap this, at this point you're full of shrapnel. You got your knees blown out.
Yeah.
Got your tib fib blown out.
Right. Broken nose.
Broken nose, closed head injury.
Yeah.
And you're you're covering and moving with your boys, trying to get the
guy behind me. Yeah. Because my best friend was the driver of that truck.
Jesus.
So all I can think about was he's burning alive. And none of our radios worked either. You know, obviously it got blown out.
Yeah, when you're blown up, that's the same exact thing that happened.
And my dumbass, I had my emitter on my chest, but it was off because those damn batteries just die out all the time. So I was like, well, the Harris radios are fine, and then if we dismount, I'll turn it on. And those things take a good 8 minutes to load up.
Longest 8 minutes of your life.
And then the first 2 trucks, there's 4 trucks in our convoy. The first 2 trucks, they were already up, 1,200 meters because, they heard the explosion, but you hear it all the time. You just keep pushing through the kill zone.
Yeah.
That's one of the SOPs is you just keep driving through, but the trucks were disabled right away, so they didn't know what to do.
So you had to get out, do it on foot.
Yeah, so we got out. So when I took that helmet off, man, I just dropped on that floor and I freaking passed out. And I had carpal tunnel, or I think that's what it's called. It's when you get real stiff because all my blood was moving to my organs.
Sure.
And so I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't move my arms.
Yeah, it's just trying to, your body's just trying to keep you alive.
Yeah, I'm butt-ass naked in the middle of Iraq. And this Iraqi army guy comes and starts videotaping me. It was crazy. And so when the E7s, man, started, getting all pissed off and fighting with him. But the reason why it took them 3 hours to medevac me is because there was one EFP that didn't go off. And there was a boot print on that EFP that somebody stepped on. Nobody knows whose boot print it was.
It's a lucky motherfucker.
I know, right? I tell you what.
Yeah.
My driver lost his leg, shrapnel. If it wouldn't have hit his leg, it would have probably hit me right in the chest.
So this is this is a roadside bomb, or is it buried?
This is EFP. Yeah, it's buried behind of
so it's a pressure plate.
Yeah, so we had a canal on the right side. Mm-hmm. It was a remote detonator.
Remote, okay.
So we had a canal on the right sides of the shit water and stuff like that. Left side was a fence to the outskirts of Baghdad. So there was no way those big ass trucks can turn around. No way in hell, because it's like this little narrow street.
They know exactly what they're doing.
When
they blew us up the one time, they had blown up the road as well, so that like you you couldn't pass. You had to like go around in the fucking ditch type thing, and like, and it's not easy to maneuver. And we used to travel 3 gun trucks to 30 semis. And so those 30 semis can't do anything.
I tell you what.
So you have a Humvee disabled. Enough. Now you have 6 shooters left to fight with 2 machine guns mounted on the top.
And these were civilians driving the trucks?
Yeah, and then you got 30 civilians attached to you, driving white semis. I mean, we had a couple of green semis. We had a couple of military semis, so a couple of other shooters, but those are 88 mics that, which are truck driving, MOS. Yeah. So, they're training some basic infantry skills, but they're not going to go out and assault the objective and fucking, or understand like, hey, we want to,
they're good.
Battle Drill 1. If I yelled Battle Drill 1 Alpha, they're going to look at me like, what the fuck is Battle Drill 1 Alpha?
Right. They won't know any of the 8 battle drills.
Very good at what they joined the Army to do. They're doing their job and doing it well, but they're not Rangers. They're not going to get out there.
Or even a basic infantryman or combat engineer or somebody who understands the basic battle drills.
Right.
That is going to try and move forward, close with, and destroy the enemy. That they didn't sign up to do that.
Right.
And their job is just as important as either of our jobs.
Right, of course.
And they're out there in the same exact shithole that we're in. But when it comes to now we're engaged, they're taught to stay in the fucking truck, make sure the doors are locked, and don't move the thing so you don't hit another bomb until we've now cleared that area.
Yeah.
So they stay in their truck, and our 2 gun trucks would go and try and eliminate however big the threat was.
That'd be frustrating for me. Because a lot of things would, break contact, you go straight through the kill zone, and then you set up your 360-degree perimeter, and if I have an 18-wheeler that stops and just puckers his ass.
Just parks.
Freezes up like most people would do.
And you can't push that sucker out of the way.
No, because usually you could get behind it. Like one of the things that we're taught when it's just the 3 trucks and we do what's called a deadheader, we don't carry any loads, is you would just run into the guy in front of you and you would push him through the kill zone, his disabled vehicle. Yep. And typically, no matter how disabled the vehicle is, it can have all 4 tires off, and it'll just scrape across the cement for the next 100 yards. Those trucks have plenty of fucking power.
Yeah.
And but an 18-wheeler with the air brakes, fucking thing ain't moving.
Not happening.
It's not worth trying.
I remember a friend of mine putting it in perspective for me, talking about the difference between special operations and guys that, truck drivers, just various MOS that
it's just training.
There's A to B. And one of the things that he said was that those guys are the bravest guys in the military. He was a Ranger also. And he said that he's like, I don't envy those dudes because like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, you joined because of pedigree and you wanted to go out there and be a badass. That's what you wanted. You wanted the fastest route to get behind a gun. That's what you were after. A lot of those guys, they joined, maybe they wanted to serve their country. Maybe they wanted that GI Bill. Maybe they wanted to just see the world. Yeah. But at any rate, they're without the skills and directives to make a difference in that situation, but they still have to go down that road.
And a lot of these guys are still in infantry. A lot of them guys do infantry work.
They get attached to the infantry all the time.
Yeah, they're the same damn thing.
We get them attached to us.
I just think how terrifying
all the time.
I mean, by the time you get through Ranger School, the Army's done everything they can do to get you ready. Are you ready for combat? I'm sure you're not. I wouldn't think so.
No.
Not until you see it.
Yeah.
But you've at least had a whole bunch of training.
Yeah, even after you've been in combat, when it's time to go back to combat, you're still not ready.
That's terrifying, man. I can't imagine.
No human being is like ever really ready to get fucking shot at, because every time it's different. Every time, at least for me, every time that it's happened to me that I've been shot at, I'm a different personality of me comes out.
Sure.
And it's never the same as it was the time before. Sometimes I have more tactical patience and I can make better decisions. And sometimes I think I'm fucking Rambo. And I sit up in the turret like, you can
have any standard operation procedure, but it's never going to work out the way that you train.
Yeah.
Never.
Do we need to bring out that Mike Tyson quote again for the second time in this podcast? Yeah, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. That's the ultimate punch in the mouth is taking gunfire from somebody that desperately wants you dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the most badass guy pucker up and just pucker his butthole up and do nothing.
Yeah, guys you think are the toughest, most combat hardened dudes, and dudes that have seen combat numerous times, that sometimes it's just fucking stop dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be me, I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah,
Pretty sure I'd be crawling underneath the truck in the fetal position, begging for my
I
life.
would say that.
And the thing is, you never know what a person's going to do until it happens.
Absolutely.
Because like guys that I thought were going to be pussies and go hide under the truck or whatever, that motherfucker stands up in the turret like fucking Rambo and just lets it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I tell you, the first time
Where
I did
was
it, I
this?
cried. I cried the first time I ever got in a firefight.
yeah,
Dude,
I didn't know
it's
what
gotta be
to
emotional.
do.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down because we had gotten the turrets that had the front shield on them now. And I remember like looking under the front shield so you get like this much crack between the rooftop and the front shield. And I was like, oh my God, we're fucking getting shot at. And my boss is like, are you going to shoot back?
Like,
Oh yeah.
yes, I
have
am.
a job to do.
And my first firefight was in the middle of the night. So
Yeah,
that's
same.
scary.
Yeah.
I
All you
mean,
see is lasers through the
yeah,
sky.
that's all you see is the PIC
tracers,
15s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tracers,
lasers.
tracers and lasers.
That's one thing I've always been fascinated by. So many of our operations happen at night because we've got a tactical advantage. You know, you guys have night vision. They
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
But that being said, I've put a night vision headset on. I know what.
It depends on which ones you have, like 7 deltas or something like, or 14s.
Yeah.
It just
But what you're
depends.
seeing is
the
a
one
video
eyes.
game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not real. It's not
Depth perception is
Depth
pretty gone.
perception is gone. And the unique thing, right? So we fight at night right now because we do have that advantage, right? We have a technology advantage.
Yes.
And now we're starting to look at these near peer adversaries like your North Koreas, your Russias.
Space.
Yeah, space. Yeah. Yeah, now we're going to space.
Space
man.
Wars, baby.
I can't wait to see what technology they got.
had to
in
throw
Mars
that
and
in
shit.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you
I
did.
agree.
We should get into that.
Yeah. 'Cause that shit's wild. But now you look at it from a whole different aspect of like, maybe it's better to fight the fight in the daytime because they also have night vision. They also have thermal capabilities. So now it's like, when is it best to fight them fucking guys?
Well, it's funny. We laugh when you bring up the space thing, and everybody kind of giggles and chuckles. And man,
But we're getting a Space Force.
But
Yeah,
Sixth branch, baby. Sixth branch
our
is
president,
coming.
he took so much shit for that. But any of us, like, I was an '80s kid, man. I remember Star Wars was a thing
Yeah.
back in the '80s.
I don't
We were
know,
talking
man.
about setting up satellites and shooting missiles out of them.
I'd
I
be
mean,
scared
this
shit.
is
Let's go to space.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man.
Yeah, that'd be a wild ass deployment.
Oh, that's what scares you. I was wondering. See, we had
Yeah,
a fight.
fuck
Now,
yeah.
I'm glad this early in the podcast we figured out what scares Dan.
So-
It's
so you
Go to
space.
space.
Yeah, so you wouldn't sit down in a space shuttle and just be like,
Oh, I would go.
strap me in.
I would go. I would just take a shit before I go. But I would definitely go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
that's a good
I couldn't
plan.
imagine. This is what I always think about when I think about the space stuff, right? Is I always think about the movie Armageddon.
Oh, yeah?
And that's what I picture with
I
the,
just watched that the other night.
That's what I
again.
picture with the Space Force is a bunch of fucking hillbillies
Dude, I
getting
got-
strapped up in a rocket. And
I
it's
got
like,
it. I got
send me
the-
to space and let's fucking play ball.
Get some. I got the biggest argument with somebody over Armageddon the other day because everybody loves to shit on that movie, and I'm like,
It's one of my favorite
dude,
movies.
it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
great goddamn movie. I don't care how ridiculous it is, and I get that it's silly.
Yeah.
But every single person that watched that movie when they came out, they walked out of it like, "Oh, it's a good ass movie."
Yeah.
And now it's
Yeah.
cool to shit on it. It's
Yeah,
like
See, I still love it. It's got Bruce Willis in it, and he's my boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Die Hard in
I don't
space.
like that
You
he
can't-
dies in the movie, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, but he went out like a G.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give this patch.
Yeah.
Ben
Shit just
Affleck.
peeled right off too. It was weird.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Quoted here.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Ben
funny.
Affleck is kind of a bitch. I think we can all agree on
Well,
that.
I don't know him personally, but
Oh, I've
in that
listened to
movie,
plenty
he's
of
a
his
bitch.
But in
opinions.
that movie,
He's
he
got
is,
pretty bitch ass
yeah.
opinions. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you.
No, fact.
Yeah.
you gotta
Fact.
come back home for a girl and not help your country.
Yeah, he's kind of a bitch. Yeah. So his character is a bitch, and he's kind of a bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hope he sees this.
Dude, I do too. 'Cause
It
if
would be awesome.
Yeah, if Ben Affleck sees it, that means everybody sees it. So
Yeah. That is blowing up. Then we're doing all right.
See, now you're making me nervous. I'm gonna say something stupid. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah. Ben, we really like you in
We-
case
we-
you hear this.
We really want a Hua donation, bro.
Yeah.
You're cool with us. You saved the planet or whatever you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But that's what I picture when I think of the Space Force. I just picture a bunch of fucking infantrymen or guys from regiment that are just like, all right, strap me the fuck in.
Do you know that there's actually a waiting list to be the first people
Is there?
to go to Mars?
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
People are signing up.
few
Yeah,
years
that's all through the SpaceX.
They're going to go live on Mars.
Live on Mars.
And never come back.
Well, you're not coming back because
No.
it turns out they're not building rockets on Mars to fly you home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
It's a
and
one-way ticket.
And it takes fucking a lifetime to get there.
Yeah.
If you ever have a doubt,
What did he say?
It's like 2 years or something.
Yeah,
It's a long-ass time.
years to get there.
yeah, it's a long-ass time. And if you ever question the stupidity of people, just consider that for a minute, that there's a waiting list of people who want to die on Mars.
Yeah, and they're Americans. What's wrong with what's wrong with fucking America? You want Mars? I'll send you to Iraq. Like,
I was just going to say, in this,
that shit's fucking what I
That's
picture.
funny.
you two guys have been in some of the shittiest parts of the world, the pits of hell, these horrible. One of the things that comes to mind when you talk about little kids, growing up in that environment, and there's a firefight going on, and there's kids kicking a soccer ball around in a field, and I think about that shit, and I think, no wonder we're so soft here. That's
Yeah.
their reality.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Around here, you get a GoFundMe page if somebody hurts your feelings.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
wonder.
Yeah, and the funny thing is nobody researches GoFundMe because GoFundMe takes 10% off the top.
Yeah, but they help you raise a lot of money though.
They do, but like we don't use them because they take so damn much money.
You have a platform though.
Yeah, but and I get it. I'm like, these people raise this money, and most of them don't even. Most times it goes to like the research center for whatever their issue was. So like when they do a cancer fundraiser for an individual, sometimes that individual passes away, and then they just donate all the money to the cancer organization.
Right.
And it's like if you would have just contacted them first and raised the money through them, you would have gotten 8% of that back.
Yeah.
A good 7.5% for sure.
But the other side is it makes it easy. It allows.
It does. It
allows
makes
a
it
platform that makes it
super
easy for
easy.
people to make donations.
What is
So
it, free?
It's free.
Besides the 10%?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
it's
pay
free
the
to people that
10% of
donate,
the
and you can
donations.
choose when you make a donation, you can decide whether you want to add money to your donation, so you actually donate the full amount, or if they're going to take it out.
All right, guys. We're going to be on GoFundMe to the Dan Foundation.
Yeah. I'll set that shit up.
Get
He's like, I don't even care if
Get
they
it
take
wired.
10%. I'll take a buck and they can have the first
I'm
10
gonna
cents.
get that enlargement surgery one way or another.
Yeah,
One of these days, my wife will be happy.
the elephantitis.
I got a buddy that did it. We'll probably get into that off podcast, but
They actually had
swear to God.
the first
Yeah, that's
Army
wild.
guy to get one transplant done recently.
Really?
And his wife wants to sue the military because she feels like she's not having sex with him.
What?
Dead serious. I saw the news.
No
on.
shit.
Yeah. She says, I'm not having sex with my husband
Dude, it's
anymore.
crazy what the army. It's crazy what the army is paying for now because they're paying for like the transgender stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's really.
It's
yeah.
it's wild what they're paying for. If that's what you want to do, cool, go do it.
But they won't pay for fertility
Yeah,
to help me
right.
and my wife get it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Not to get all social political on the
Yeah.
podcast, but the one of the things that frustrates me. Can you imagine? Think about being a Vietnam veteran
Right.
Yeah.
and
tough.
just being told to kick rocks for all of your medical needs when you came home, having no support whatsoever, and then
Yeah.
having now to sit there and be like, oh, now the military is paying for gender reassignment.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And like if you want to have
I
that,
couldn't get a prosthetic, and
go. Yeah, it's like if you want to have that, go have it, but fucking pay for it on your own.
yeah. Why is that?
Like,
the
I don't know
government's-
I
why.
think that's a
I don't know why
personal
that's the
choice.
government's
Yeah,
problem.
100% it is.
Absolutely, and a personal choice you should have to pay for.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
otherw's I fully support it being paid for. It's
Yeah.
it's fucking
Whatever,
crazy.
man.
but-
You served your country. You get.
I mean, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you want to switch, go switch.
have your fun.
Pay for it yourself.
So far, I've been enjoying this male privilege for about 39 years, and I'm going to keep running with it.
Yeah, fast.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, exactly.
No doubt.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was going from the military to business ownership.
man, it's a hard.
Stole my thunder.
It was rough.
Oh, you were going there?
Not now, but I was going
it's
there.
a rough.
Yeah.
It's a rough
I
transition.
want to know about that because that's the
So-
as
so
crazy
ho-
as the Purple Hearts. I think. you know?
First of all, let us know what you're up to now. What are you doing now? What are
So
you
I'll,
looking at?
I'll bring it back to how I even got into it. The military, when you retire and you med board, the military has a transition program to civilian life. So you can work with any kind of company like the IRS or anything like that for free because you're getting paid by the government. So you do like a left seat, right seat, like you would for deployment. So I worked with Max Muscle for a year and a half as civilian because I was into supplements and bodybuilding at the time. So they came to me and they're like, hey, there's this NASCAR pit crew chief, Randy Cox, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, that's not doing so well. He's he's a millionaire, and he just doesn't want to take care of his store. Do you want to buy it from him? And I was like, well, fuck yeah, I'll buy it from him. You know, it's an amazing thing. So I bought it from him in 2012. And I was going through all these surgeries, so we didn't open it until this past August. But it's a big transition working with civilians versus having that set thing in the military every single day.
I mean, you can light somebody up once you're an NCO. If they fuck up, you can be like,
I'm getting those oil cans out.
Yeah, do whatever I tell you to do.
Yeah.
You know, until I'm bored and tired of making you do what I want you to do.
But I got somebody coming to my store and say, "Hey, your shit's crap. I want a refund." You know, you kind of, "Hey, sir, how you doing?"
Instead of refund, boy, I'll smack you to fuck on some wall-to-wall counseling.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that roughly 90% of the people in the world are good, reasonable, cool people, and they just want to do their thing, live their life. They don't want to get in anybody's way. They'll help their neighbors. But then there's that 1 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
It's just, and the problem is you run into a lot of people over the course of the day. So you're going to get one of those 10%ers more than once a day if you're in business.
Yeah.
And these are the insufferable people that are so miserable and hate their lives so much that they want you to hate your life too, even for just a minute. I mean, and they can be tricky to be around.
Compared to North Carolina, Wisconsin's pretty nice.
Dude, it really is nice.
I mean, they have some nice people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about the area is
they love veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. They take care. Like, who will last year in a single event raise like $97,000 in the local area? That's $100,000 in the local area on one event.
It's a generous group around here.
So it's awesome and generous towards veterans. Like, they take care of
even
veterans.
the fake veterans that come in my store.
Oh yeah, let's talk about those. That's a good story, man. We got to get into this.
Two fake veterans that come in my store.
So as we've already established, Dan's got 2 Purple Hearts. So you've been down that road twice. When they talk about people who bleed for their country and for their brothers, you shed your share of blood.
Oh yeah.
So tell me about first of all, tell us about their discount program.
Yeah, so
for people who have
so it's local
shed
heroes
blood on the battlefield.
Yeah, so they get 25% off in my store, no matter what. If they have a Purple Heart, just regular veterans get 20% off, no matter what. Man, I've had 2 police officers come in my store and claim they had Purple Hearts. 2 police officers. One was in the police academy, and the other one's a Green Bay police officer. Tell me this crazy story about how he got hit with an RPG.
Yeah, tell about that RPG story.
He got hit in an RPG in the back, and he got shot with AK-47 rounds.
Of course.
And all this crap.
Did
and
you say, show me the holes, bro?
And he's like, well, the first time I didn't get a Purple Heart because there was no medic on the ground. I was like, you idiot. There's medics everywhere. You have to have a medic with you.
Everybody's a medic.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have a medic, because there's times where we went without medics just because we didn't have
everybody's got a knife.
There's going to be somebody with a sworn statement.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And if the moment a round goes off, everybody's writing sworn statements.
Right.
Like, it doesn't fucking matter, or you just don't tell anybody the round went off. But like, if you got shot,
there's going to be an SIR report.
Yeah, everybody in your unit knows. Sometimes there's an investigating officer. Like,
so that's funny as shit to me. I have to imagine this happens at some point in the military where something goes off and nobody gets hurt, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want to skip the paperwork?"
Oh yeah,
all
absolutely.
the time.
Absolutely.
All the time. There's so many times where like it's like, "Hey, we didn't kill anybody. Nobody killed us. Everybody's good. Check yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check your buddy."
Yeah.
All right, let's roll the fuck along.
Yeah, we don't call that up to battalion or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's just headaches you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, but saying that you took an RPG to the back, you had actually an RPG hit you directly.
Yeah, I don't know if he was saying directly or if it hit him like.
It doesn't matter. If that motherfucker went 15 meters away from you, you're gonna know.
Yeah,
like,
and it's over.
And like, you're not walking normal. Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, man, you're not in the police academy.
Yeah, they actually pulled an RPG that didn't detonate out of one of the. It wasn't one of the convoys I was on, but a convoy from my unit. They had an RPG went through the side of one of the white trucks because they don't have any of the chicken net up or anything to catch the RPG, and it either didn't spin enough to arm itself, or however that shit fucking works.
Or the impact wasn't
hard enough, but it got lodged in his body. It was stuck in his body.
Oh shit!
The dude was dead as could be, but it was like physically stuck in the side of his body. And so they like had to pull him out of the truck and fucking have one of the other third country nationals that was in one of the other white trucks get in and drive the bitch.
I wouldn't be that fucker that pulls it out.
Nope. That was my first thought.
But
I'm like, I'm going to get dead and covered in
They
cuts.
didn't pull it out. They just pulled him out of the truck.
Yeah.
Dude, I wouldn't even want to touch the guy.
Like,
Yeah, no.
Dude, you pull him out. I'm not doing it.
Ain't no
Yeah.
way.
I mean, you got to get
Truck staying parked right here.
the fucking mission's got to continue again eventually.
true.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
somebody's got to fucking deal with it. So you pull them out of the truck, call EOD. EOD comes and they fucking do their thing, and then the convoy starts rolling again.
Jesus.
Did they have to blow him up or what?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I didn't ask
that'd
any.
be shitty.
I didn't ask any more questions.
That'd be
That's all.
shitty for the family.
Yeah,
If they had their remote
guy's
detonator.
intact and they have to detonate that thing. So what are they going to do? How do you pull it out?
Yeah,
You're
well,
right. I
And
never
it's
thought of that.
and so it's super different too. Like these guys are like from India and shit, so they're only making like $250-$300 a month.
Yeah, they're basically
Like,
working for
They're
meals.
not making any money, and they're in the same. They're worse off than I am. I have a gun to defend myself. I've got an up armored truck that I'm in. Like they're in a fucking tin can.
I'm sure they detonated it.
Probably.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
think.
I'm sure.
I would think. I just don't know if they took it out of his body before they
Yeah,
went and
right.
detonated it with
Yeah.
a
You
robot or
guys have been
With the
through the
robot,
protocol,
yeah.
but why in the
Yeah.
world you're not going to take a chance on taking that out of his body?
They,
I don't know. They mate with
no,
the robot.
with the robot.
The
They'd
robot,
send the
maybe.
robot out
Yeah.
and do it. Yeah.
It's a weird conversation we're getting into right now.
Yeah.
But
But
what to do with the guy
how
that's
strong
got
is
an
that
explosive
robot
device?
to really grab an RPG
Yeah, right?
head and pull it out?
Yeah, and I don't know how well lodged it was in there. Like, but like,
Fuck that.
yeah, like you get hit by the end story is you get hit by an RPG, you die.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're not in the police academy. You're
I
not,
mean,
you're
this
not
is
hanging
when-
out at Max Muscle buying supplements. So
You're
you're
right.
jacked.
yeah, this
Fat
is
as
one.
fuck.
This is
Oh, he's
one.
fat too?
Oh yeah.
Well, that happens,
Fat
man.
as
Sometimes
shit.
you put on weight when you take an RG.
I mean, I put on weight too, but come on, I'm a little
Or you
bit
took a whole bunch
in
off
shape
recently.
compared to somebody else. The average Joe out there, I'm still better shape than they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
well,
exactly.
Fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no getting around that. God damn.
That was a fun little conversation there for a minute.
Yeah, that's
It brought back some memories that I
I
had.
called
was
their
like,
lieutenant too.
good.
Yeah, at the Green Bay Police Department, I called their lieutenant because he's a customer of mine too, and they're doing an investigation on both of them.
Good.
Nice.
So yeah.
Good. I hope they're taking
Yes.
a task. I mean, one thing that Will will tell you, Will and I have been really close friends for long enough that one of the things that gets really frustrating to me because of my involvement with HUA, because of just doing a lot of the stuff we do, ruck marches, things of that nature. One of the things that gets frustrating is that a lot of people assume that I served. I have people
Yeah,
all
I
the
thought
time.
you served when I first met you too.
A lot of people say
Yeah.
that, and it frustrates me. I almost feel like I have to
You're
wear a
the-
sign around because
You're the first one to say, "Hey, I never served." Like,
Right, because it scares me to death to think that
Yeah.
somebody would say, "Oh yeah, Jason was in Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whatever," and have somebody say, "No, he wasn't," and have someone think it came from me. That's
Yeah.
what's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to think that it came from me. So just the idea of being suspected.
Yeah,
that
but
I would
anybody
have
that
ever
knows
made
you
something up.
knows what you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
Fair enough, but just the idea of there ever being
Right.
any suspicion whatsoever terrifies me. So I can't imagine having the balls to say that you served in the military when you didn't, period.
Yeah.
But moreover, if you did serve in the military, to say that you earned a Purple Heart.
Dude,
That should be good enough.
We just had a guy.
That's right. We've got a couple of these stories.
So through the charity, we've had a few stolen valors, but now we just had one from another organization that their president was a stolen valor case, who said he was with fifth or seventh group or something like that in Vietnam, did all this crazy shit like valor devices and all sorts of shit that. He was like a Navy veteran, not during the war or something like that. I don't remember what it was. He was a veteran, or had been a service member, however you want to look at it. But he had served an honorable contract, but then wanted to be somebody that he wasn't.
Yeah.
Lied about it to got himself into a position where he was the president of an organization. He was going to like King Veterans Home, and doing shit there, and like. It's like, man, just be proud of what you did.
Proud of what you did.
Like,
Should be good enough.
yeah.
It should be good enough.
If
Man.
it's not, go fucking do something that you'll be proud of. So go
outside
try
the
and
military.
go try and go do it then, or go do something else, But like, be proud of the life that you live, because you chose to live this life.
Right.
Nobody made these decisions for you. You chose to put yourself into these various positions, You chose to start a business during the hardest time to start a business, when the businesses were all collapsing around. But you chose to do that. So you knew when that was going on, like, and you chose to stay in business. So you made those choices.
That's
You know,
that's fine. But
Dan
nobody ever
chose,
blew
like,
up my service van or shot
No,
me
but-
from a rooftop.
no,
I
but-
mean, that's a little different ballgame. Starting a business is pretty low consequence when it comes down to
But
it.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's that you chose to do this. So like that's your life choice. Like Dan chose to, you know, get a Ranger contract,
Right.
and go and serve as a Ranger, knowing that is going to be more high risk.
Of course.
Yep.
So, but that's a choice he made. You know, it's like yes, I chose to go to Ranger school to become a better leader and a better soldier,
Which is pretty badass.
and and be able to do those things. But I never chose to go to regiment. I never tried. I never asked to, and it's very different, you know. And a lot of people confuse the two, and I'm like,
It's the
I
same
never
thing
spent
to
a
me.
day there.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that.
I respect anybody tabbed.
Yeah, same. Likewise. And
So that's interesting, and I mean, for anybody that is listening that doesn't understand the distinction, that's something that gets pointed out a lot, and I always think it's kind of funny. It seems to me, as a civilian, it seems like splitting hairs. So for anybody that wants to know the difference, there's a Ranger school, which is an advanced infantry school,
Which is a leadership school.
a leadership school
so-
essentially that every officer has to go through, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
The only people that have to go through is like if you're in regiment as an infantryman or as an officer in regiment.
Got it. Okay.
In the line
I
units
think
of regiment.
82nd Airborne officers, if you're infantry, have to go.
have to have
Okay.
have to go.
Okay, because I've always been confused by that because I had a friend of mine that was an ROTC guy and went to Ranger school, and he said he had to. It must have just been.
Yeah, he might have been going through the officer track with infantry or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so then they said, like, if you go typically on the active duty side, for officers, they'll try and send them to Ranger school
Right.
if they're going to be an infantry officer, and then half of those fail. So the half that make it go to the 82nd, and then
Got it.
once they've
Yep.
done time in the 82nd, they, not all, but a good chunk of them that make it will go to the 82nd, and
Okay.
then once they've done time in the 82nd, then they can try to get into regiment by going through RIP, RASP, whatever
Right.
they call
Sure,
it now
sure.
RASP,
today.
yeah.
Because
Got it.
they've changed the name like 5 fucking
Well, you know,
times.
it's funny.
Yeah, they did.
I have to assume that a fair number of the people that listen to this podcast understand, military lingo, but not everybody does. So it does get really, really confusing. So if you've been through Ranger school, you're considered to be Ranger qualified. You wear a tab, you're Ranger qualified.
Fuck it, I still call you a Ranger. To me,
Yeah.
that's
See,
a badass fucking school. I know there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, you're not a Ranger," or whatever. Hey, you're a badass in my eyes.
One
Yeah,
question
I
I've
mean,
always
it's
had,
tough
you
as
guys,
nails.
since
you just know how tough somebody is.
Yeah, so and it's kind of funny now that I'm thinking about this because I've listened to every Forever Unbreakable podcast. There's probably a bunch of people that listen that
Yeah.
don't know that you're Ranger qualified, went through Ranger school.
Yeah,
because you're
I know.
not one
You're
of the
a
people.
pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, you're a bad dude, and you don't talk about yourself ever on the podcast. It's always about the person on the other side, which is why I'm pumped to be over here because
Yeah.
it gives me an opportunity to
Yeah,
hear your
'cause-
story
and that's
too.
and that's what this platform is about. It's about getting people's stories out there so that they can help people that are going through something difficult.
Sure.
So somebody who, like this podcast, somebody who's been injured through whatever, it could be from civilian work, right?
Work injury, yeah.
Like you could saw your hand off at work, and now you've got to learn to adjust to that. And Dan's a prime example, like blown the fuck up, says, fuck it, I'm coming back. I'm going to deploy again.
Doing
like,
this again.
Like I'm mentally stable. Like I figured my shit out. I'm doing it again, right?
Yeah, put me in, coach.
And
I
goes
wouldn't say
back.
mentally stable.
Yeah. That's, it's as stable as one can be.
Yeah.
So, but
Like, and then you go back, and so that's what people need to like take out of this is like, just because something bad happens to you, don't let it wreck your life.
Right.
Because look at you, you've been smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
Let me out here. You're happy as fuck to be alive. So it's like, swallow the fucking pill of being sorry and sad for yourself for a day.
yeah.
Do it for 24 hours and then fucking find a way to get happy again and start pushing towards that happiness.
Enjoy something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, and it's funny because
Yeah.
that's your mantra, dude. Like that's who you are. That's why you started this. But the interesting thing is, a lot of that was probably forged in that school.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's where I learned that I will never quit.
Yeah.
Like Ranger School taught me that I will never quit because I tried to quit.
The meaning of Unbreakable right there.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Never quit.
I tried to quit, and my buddy behind me, like there was no RIs, which is a Ranger instructor, so I couldn't quit. And Wilman was right behind me, and Wilman was like, "Koken, get get up, man. Like, you got.
So funny. You want to quit, but there's nobody to quit to.
Yeah.
Shit.
Like, I tried, like, because everybody was taking a knee, and I was like, fuck taking a knee. And I just ruck flopped on the side of this mountain, because we're in mountain phase.
Right.
And it was actually on Hawk Mountain. And I fucking ruck flopped on this bitch, and I was like,
These pancakes ain't
just
worth it.
immediately sleeping.
They're blueberry
The
pancakes.
blueberry
Yeah.
pancakes
Good old
ain't-
Camp
not-
Merrill.
Not worth
And
it.
those are the best fucking pancakes I ever ate. But I fucking ruck flop passed out, and when I came to, or not came to, but when like he woke me up, he was like, we gotta go. We're starting to have a break contact where we can't see the guy in front of us. And I was like, dude, I quit. Like, I'm done. I'm going fucking home. And he was like, you can't. There's no fucking cadre around here. Get your ass up and walk.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And I'm not saying you can't quit because I'm giving you a motivational speech right now. I mean, you're on the side of a mountain. You just can't quit.
Yeah.
You're gonna die out here.
Yeah. So we start walking, and while we're walking, I just thought to myself, I was like, every step I take is a step further than I thought I could actually go.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and that's where I started to like build that powerfulness of like, I can go further than I think I can. And after that, Ranger School actually got not easy, but it got easier knowing that
Mentally.
I can't be
Right.
broken. Like, now the only way I'm going home is to medically injure myself. Like, I'm fucking good. I'm going to get my tab.
That's
Like,
one thing somebody can't take from you is your mental status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have that, and nobody can take it from you.
Dude, that's a
Yeah.
mouthful right there.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because you own that. Nobody can reach in and grab that.
Fuck yeah.
Unless you let them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your word is your bond, buddy.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the indoctrination program or assessment and selection program or whatever it is now,
The RIP?
and Ranger School? What's the
I think, well, the big difference is just training. So you learn more of the principles of patrol, troop leading procedures.
Yeah.
You learn more of ruck march, everything. It's like a mini Ranger School is what it really is.
Got it.
So-
Got it. When you went into selection, like how many people started your RIP class?
I think 74 people or something like that. 32 or so made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's actually a pretty good rate for
Yeah,
that school, isn't it? Or for that?
yeah, I don't know what the percentage is nowadays, but I think the passing rate was 15% or 20% back when I was going through.
Yeah, some classes you just get a bunch of studs. You get
Yeah,
a bunch of guys that are
absolutely.
just really good. And some classes, you don't get anybody that's good.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about this before,
It
man.
happens all the time in all sorts of stuff. Some Ranger
Quitting.
School classes are just studded out.
And we didn't have a lot of
they
officers
graduate
either.
huge numbers. That helps. That helps. That helps.
And quitting feels good, and it's contagious as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, once that one person quits, everybody's going to quit.
It starts to get
Yeah.
easier to quit. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's okay.
And as the
Now,
group gets-
okay, well that dude quit.
The crazy thing about all this stuff is as the group gets smaller, so as more people quit,
Yeah.
the instructor number doesn't get smaller. So now you begin to get more one-on-one attention, and that is why I think that the school gets tougher as the school goes on. And same with what I would assume from Rip and guys that I've talked
Right.
to, is it gets tougher as it goes on, partly because you're fatigued and exhausted and
Yeah.
sleep deprived and food deprived and all that stuff. But the fact that now you're starting to get one-on-one attention. So when you're doing flutter kicks, you can't set your feet down because there's a fucking instructor over top of you.
You're out of places to hide.
Whereas when your class started with 300 people and you're all doing flutter kicks, it's pretty easy to fucking put your feet down, look around for an instructor.
Yeah.
You know?
So a funny story about about schools and high level military selection. I've talked to Will about this before, but so one of my buddies who's a former SEAL, when he got to BUDS, he didn't know how to swim. Literally couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Wow.
But kind of like what you've told me about Best Ranger, the beginning of BUDS is just to weed people out. That's all Hell Week is. In his words, he said
yeah.
Hell Week is just to make sure you're not
Yep.
a pussy. And if you're not a pussy, you're going to get through Hell Week. You just have to be willing to just keep moving. So early on, they put them in the pool, and it's everybody's going to swim X number of laps. Well, you've got a bunch of guys, a bunch of SEAL candidates in the water at the same time, and everybody's swimming laps. There's no way that the instructors can pay attention to every single
Yeah,
person,
all
every
you
single lane.
gotta do is stop after you see the first couple of people finish.
Yeah, so he just said he's like a kind of doggy paddled my way down one side of the pool, came back the other way, realized that nobody was coming out of the pool yet, kind of doggy paddled back down to the end again, took a look around, and as soon as people started coming out of the water, he just came out of the water with them.
Yeah.
And he managed to survive long enough that by the time there were enough instructors compared to the number of candidates,
He could swim.
and someone said, what are you doing? Can you even swim? And he said, no. And they said, well, how did you get here? And he said, I cheated. And they were like, respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just, he
learned.
It's
he said, you're going to spend more time in the pool now. You're going to figure it out. But eventually he learned. He got through all those cold water swims and he became a SEAL.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good shit. Man.
Great. Cheated his way in.
It's fucking awesome.
But, the special operations community wants guys who get it done.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily as concerned
result-
at that
you
level.
can get in physical shape anytime.
It's results based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very heavy results based.
Did you achieve the mission?
You want results. Like, yeah, was the mission accomplished? So you go with 12 guys and one guy comes back. Was the mission accomplished? Like, that's the first question.
Yeah, you can have a stud and he could be dumb as a box of rocks, doesn't know how to read coordinates on or a 10-digit grid on a map.
How do you
That
do
motherfucker carried it. Like, when I went to Ranger School, Nick Reese, who went back in like 03, 04, somewhere around there, he told me about Ranger, like the thing he told me for Ranger School is he was like, if you carry all of the heavy shit, you'll graduate for sure. He's like, your guys around you will not let you fail. So I got to Ranger School, I was like, I'm just going to carry fucking everything. Like, so I was always
What do you know about carrying heavy shit anyway?
Not much. I was always on a gun, or I was like, yep, I'll be the RTO, like, and or the medic, and so I would carry all of the extra shit. And the guys around me, like, I was top peers all 3 phases on the peer reviews because I just carried everything. I was like, hey, I know that this will get me through Ranger School. Is just carry everybody's shit. Yeah. So dudes would be tired and I would be sucking. And I'd be like, fuck it. I got to carry this shit. I want to graduate.
Love the suck fest.
Yeah, and that's what I did. So I carried, or I tried to carry stuff the majority of the time because I knew, like, this was my ticket through. And after I got through Darby and had such high peer reviews, and, like, when I was up doing my job, everybody was willing to work and worked hard for me because they knew, like, hey, I was going to work hard for them when they were in a leadership role.
You gain that respect.
So, and that's the one thing. Yeah, and that's one thing. One of the big things that I took away from Ranger School was, like, always be the hardest working guy. And if you're the hardest working guy, everybody around you will work hard for you because they see you busting your ass for them.
Isn't it funny how no matter what we're talking about, I mean, it can be a conversation about business. It can be a conversation about military, about trying to run a marathon with a 100-pound rock, whatever. It all comes down to hard work. That's one common denominator.
Everything.
There is not a goddamn thing in the world that happens that's of any value whatsoever without hard work.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's fact, man.
It's funny you're talking about Nick. He told me a funny story about when he was going through RIP. They were just doing log PT and 2 guys on a log and suffering. And his ranger buddy wanted to quit. And he dropped the thing and he was like, I'm done. I quit. I'm out. And the instructor came over and he's like, that's cool, but you can't quit unless you find somebody to quit with. So you're going to talk your ranger buddy into quitting.
Yeah.
Or you can't quit. And Nick, I don't remember how it ended, like how it ended up shaking out. But Nick was like, he's like, I'm looking at this guy like, get up.
Yeah,
but obviously he got through.
He would have kept going and doing that log PT on his own. He would have gained that respect from his peers.
Yeah.
So same thing Will was just talking about.
Yeah.
So
and maybe that's what he did. I don't remember how that story ended.
I'm sure he did.
He was drinking.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he did.
I love some of Nick's stories because they're just fucking wild,
That's good shit. Well, I feel like one of the things I always wonder about is both of your career path. Obviously, there was something in there in your heart, some kind of fire in your belly that was burning before you ever went there. How much of it do you think was just cultivated and grew because of the training you went through and the suffering that you did and the brotherhood that you established? And how much of it was just in you to begin with? Can someone who's a born quitter show up and become hard and become unbreakable?
I was a born quitter.
I believe so.
Yeah. I think I was honestly a born quitter. Like, I tried to quit. I physically said the words, I quit, came out of my mouth. So I was a born quitter. Like, I couldn't wait to fucking quit. And on marathons, I used to walk. Like, before I ever went to Ranger School, I used to have no problem stopping running. Like, and all this shit. So I was a born quitter. There was a moment in my life on the side of a fucking mountain in the most miserable time of my life that I realized that quitting was in my fucking head and I didn't have to do it anymore. And since then I haven't.
That's badass.
I love that.
Yeah.
So for me, I was a born quitter. So I think it's something that you gain over time because of your life experiences.
So this is kind of funny. Will and I are best friends, but like we talk about all things achievement, all things motivation, everything that we're into, right? But I actually learned on this podcast one time when it was just the two of us. I don't remember if it was a post-world record podcast or whatever. Will tells me that he was a below-the-wire PT guy.
Yeah, dude, I was garbage, man. I was
just barely snuck under.
Yeah,
and it blew my mind.
My high PT score back in the day was like a 220, 215. And now I'm pissed if I don't get a 300.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I've got a couple of 297s in there and shit.
He's molded.
Right, but obviously you haven't known Will that long. But can you imagine him ever being somebody that's just kind of trying to sneak under the wire, like maybe just do the minimum?
No fucking way.
I was a soldier that you would have had, you know, if you were my team leader, you would have fucking crushed my balls every day. Because I was a piece of shit.
Something?
I was a piece of shit. I would show up and I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to work hard. Like, and I didn't put in any effort. And I fucking deployed. I came home. I put in less effort than before I deployed. Because I was like, fuck this. Fuck the Army. PT is stupid. I hate working out.
You had a little bit of a rough homecoming. We're not going to get into that on the air. But you had a little, that was a little tough.
But I was a quitter, man. I was a quitter at life. Like at everything. I was an absolute quitter.
I think as you get older, the motivation gets better. I mean, you just get more mentally tough as you get older, too.
Yeah.
Well, you've been through more shit.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean,
go through life.
I don't know anybody that's been through more shit than you've been through in terms of the stuff that you've had to overcome.
It's funny, but yeah.
But you go through more shit, and every one of those things just kind of like it's that dip in the fire. You know, one of my favorite analogies is you know how you temper steel. You know, you stick it in the fire and then you beat the shit out of it, and then when you're done beating the shit out of it, you stuff it back in the fire.
Yeah.
And every one of those things is just a dip into the fire. And as you go through and you have that happen more and more and more times in your life, you become hardened like that blade.
Yeah, it gets stronger and stronger.
And you know, I can't put myself in that category, especially when I'm around people like you that have been through a whole bunch of stuff. Dude, what I mean.
Dude, but
you're tough.
But you are, because you go out and seek it. Just like I do, just like Dan is. We all go out and seek, like, what next will break us? Like, what next will put us in this mental spot where we've got to fucking get tough, get hard, and get through it. You know, and it's one of the reasons why I believe you started a business. Is like you get those mental spots where like the business isn't successful this month, and now I'm in a bad spot, but I want to be here. Like I like being in this fucking spot, and now I'm gonna get through it. And I'm gonna be successful. Like, dude, watch me be fucking successful.
Even in a workout or a roll or you know, whatever you're into, one of my favorite things to do is to just put the pedal to the metal and get to that spot where everything sucks and you want to die. And I want to get there as fast as I possibly can, and then I'm gonna like. How long can I hang out here?
Yeah.
How long can I just sit in this deepest pit of suck that I can possibly build for myself? And how long can I survive in this environment?
Yeah.
And that's fun because I'm an idiot. But I mean, you know, but I feel like there's something to that. Now, one thing that I've never forgotten is I'm super lucky that I'm able to put myself in that situation intentionally.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the choice. You don't have the choice. And this is
I still put myself in there every day.
I know you do, man.
It's just different.
I know you do. So it's funny because this is probably the most like disjointed, all over the place podcast we've ever done. But
it's perfect.
It's perfect. That's
dude,
what we like.
I
anyway.
really like this episode.
Yeah, it's way better already. But what that reminds me, like the last time we dropped off, you were talking about when the second time you got blown up and how fucked up you were. And the last thing that we talked about in that story was when you were out, you're unconscious.
Yeah.
Do you have any other memory of that moment? Following
Yeah,
that?
I do remember. I remember calling a bunch of team members different names from previous time, and I remember the guy filming me. And a funny story, when the medevac actually picked me up, I remember this woman. She was in the back, you know, giving me IVs or whatever. When I was in the helicopter, I thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world. I didn't see anything but her like this down because they have those big old helmets.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Will you marry me? I love you."
She's like, "You're already married, bro.
I thought
you got
she
a wedding
was-
ring tattooed on your finger."
Yeah, I thought she was so beautiful at the time. She had the perfect teeth, everything like that. It's just, that's one thing that sticks out to me.
I know you got a nurse fetish. I've met your wife, so I know.
Yeah. I love my wife very much.
Did enough to tattoo the ring on your finger.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's some deep love.
Yeah.
That's some deep love.
But that was when was that by the time you already made it to Qatar? Was that your first memory after you?
No, I actually went to Balad on the second time. They had an ICU in Balad, and I was in ICU. I was on a C-spine for 72 hours because my spine had shifted, so it has to shift back by itself.
Jesus Christ.
But I was in ICU for about 9 days before they shipped me off to Germany, to Landstuhl, Germany, to have multiple surgeries. So
let's give me the laundry list of your injuries at that point.
So left patella was blown out, meniscus, MCL, right meniscus, MCL, patella was blown out. Tib fib joint was actually dislocated the whole time. It's been dislocated for years.
Yeah, tell us how they fixed that.
They went and cut my fibula in half, and they fused my tib fib together. So now my bones, if you look at my leg right now, my bone sticks out. And then when I move my ankle back and forth.
That's crazy.
Right. So you essentially have one bone connecting to your ankle now.
Absolutely.
At this point.
Yeah, just one half a bone.
Right.
My fibula, yeah.
Right.
My stomach was, my intestines were tied up together. Gallbladder was messed up.
So the intestinal issues you had, was that just percussion?
Yeah, it was from the pressure.
Shockwave?
Yep. And I got flat feet from the shockwave.
So that's so difficult to even comprehend. I mean, everybody that's been around any type of explosion, it can be fireworks, for crying out loud.
Right.
You know what that shockwave feels like.
Yeah.
But that thing, you were near an explosion that was so violent that the wave that went through your body legitimately rearranged your intestines.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're still having issues with that to this day.
Yep. So I just had my previous surgery where they tied my esophagus and my diaphragm together, my stomach actually around it, and they cut part of my stomach out so I can eat proper.
How many surgeries have you had now?
47.
Yeah, 47 fucking surgeries.
Yeah.
Think about that shit.
I'm having my 48th here pretty soon. They're gonna do an SI joint fusion in my back.
So the thing that even we know each other, we've had this conversation before, but the reason that I'm tripping out on 47 is because the last time I talked to you it was 39.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that long ago.
I know.
So about 3 weeks ago, I took a surfboard to the face.
Yeah.
And I broke most of my face, right? Not a huge deal.
Yeah.
Smashed my nose, my orbital, my cheekbone, whatever. And they had to put me under for that surgery. And I remember thinking at that time, I've been under the knife maybe more than the average person has.
Right.
I wonder at which point this starts to affect your brain.
Oh, I tell you what, man.
And then I started thinking about you.
It's hard for them to put me out. And I've woke up during the surgery before.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Dude, the idea that this is your life.
Yeah.
Like this is just life for you. You've gotten to a point where you've had
So used to it.
so many surgeries that the little thing that I just went through that was for a lot of people would be a major event
I
in my
wouldn't
life.
say little, but yeah.
That's business as usual.
Yeah.
In your world.
Absolutely. I'm used to it every single day.
Jesus,
I feel for
man.
my wife because she's the one that had to wipe my ass
I did too. I know. Yes.
and help me urinate and everything when it first happened.
Man.
Because I have a neurogenic bladder from the brain injury.
So you're going on 8 more surgeries since the last time we talked.
Right.
One of them is where they had to tie your esophagus.
All of them
around.
were my stomach.
And all stomach surgeries.
All stomach surgeries.
Now, the thing that led to this last time you had to go under the knife, that was some sort of a mass that they had to remove?
Yep. So I had a mass in my stomach. It was called, I forgot what it's called, but it was like it was a tumor in my stomach. So they first removed the tumor. Once the tumor was gone, I still had problems. Then they removed part of my stomach. Still had problems. Then that's when they tied my esophagus and diaphragm with my stomach.
So I think now is a good time to talk about when I put 2 and 2 together on the ruck march.
Right.
So all of this stuff that you're sharing with us about all these surgeries you've had, you having your tib and fib essentially fused together,
Right.
bolted together, or whatever they've done for you, the fact that your knees are not in one piece anymore,
Right.
all this shit that you've struggled with. It's worth mentioning right now that the first time that I saw you and realized that, that I knew this guy that my technician was talking about was at the ruck march.
Right.
So what was the first year you did the 22-mile ruck march?
It was 3 years ago.
Okay, so for those people listening, if you're eating your breakfast or whatever you're doing right now, stop and think about this for a second. You got blown up,
Yep.
got full of shrapnel, got your spine displaced, got both your knees blown to pieces, had your tib and fib destroyed,
Yep.
had up until, how many surgeries had you had for the first ruck march?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 30, 29.
30?
Yeah.
So 30 surgeries. And then Will Koken decides to put on the first Veteran Suicide Awareness Ruck March, and you grabbed a pack.
Yeah. I do
Why?
that for my brothers. I mean, there's people that aren't here that can't do the ruck march, so why not?
What's that like for you, man?
It's just another day. I mean, I love it. I love the suck. And it's funny, the second ruck march that I did, I had knee surgery 2 weeks prior, And during that rock march, I got a hematoma.
2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. I got a hematoma, and then I had to have they had to cut open the hematoma and drain out all the blood in the surgery.
Oh, Jesus.
So you could have one less surgery if you didn't walk.
I would.
Yeah, so been 48.
If I didn't do the ruck march,
Yeah,
I'd
the ruck
have
march.
one less surgery. Yeah,
And which one was that? Was that the first one or the second
that
one?
was last year's.
Oh, last year's.
Yep.
Okay,
Damn.
so you coming back?
That was the 20. Oh yeah, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gangster.
Yeah.
Gangster.
You better believe I'll be
love
there.
that shit. So on those legs that have been blown to pieces and everything else, you come out every year and you knock that thing out.
Right. Not as fast
Dude.
as everybody else, but yeah, I knock it out.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's getting fucking done, man. Who gives a
getting
fuck
done.
about speed?
Right.
You know?
and it's not like you're just walking it. You carry a pack.
Oh yeah,
I see
absolutely.
you carry-
35 pounds. Yeah.
You carry an OG Alice pack.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Yeah.
Those you're walking out there.
And I wrecked with another Purple Heart recipient. That's a good friend of mine. He actually made me the godfather of his daughter.
No
we were
shit.
overseas at the same time. We didn't know each other, but he was National Guard. He got a Purple Heart, and we met at a gym here, and he made me a godfather of his daughter. Yeah,
Oh shit.
good
Who's
fucking story.
Who's the guy?
His name's Tony Parizzo.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta meet him.
Shout
Yeah, we'll
out
have
to
to
Tony
have him on
Parizzo.
here.
Sounds to me like we got another Forever Unbreakable podcast.
Yeah.
guest.
Absolutely,
He's a
we
good
do.
dude. Yeah, he was.
I know
in,
you're going to be on here more than once. Like
Yeah, Dan will be back.
we're not. Yeah, because we'll be wrapping this up here shortly. But
Yeah.
yeah, you'll be coming back. We can't tell the full story.
Yeah, anytime.
Couple of episodes.
We'll leave a couple of details out there. Yeah. No, man, I from the very moment we met, I was blown away by the fact that you continue to go out there and stomp out those 22 miles. Well, thank God it's 20.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, I
this
know.
past year
That
it went down a
22
little
killed
bit.
me.
It's amazing how painful those last 2 miles are. And now it's
Right.
18 to 20. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't imagine doing 2 more.
Yeah, but it's still the same. What's funny is it doesn't seem to matter what the distance is. The last 2 miles suck no matter
Suck
what.
no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah. No, when I learned about your story and the fact that you're out there still knocking those miles out, it blew my mind, and it was really great when I got to talk to your wife,
Yeah.
and Annabelle's had enough of the ruck march.
Oh, I tell you what. Yeah, she yells at me every year.
She just hates
You're
it.
not doing this again.
Yeah, no. Every year she says I'm not doing it.
I'm just going to avoid her at the walk. I'm like, I don't know who I am.
So Forever Unbreakable listeners, if you've thought about doing the ruck march and you came up with
An
some
excuse.
kind of, I'll just say it, a bullshit
Yeah.
excuse
Yep.
of why you can't do it. Veterans Day every
Yeah,
year.
unfuck
Yeah.
yourself. This year,
Get out there.
this year we had to move it forward a day. So this year it's on the 10th.
Okay.
Because the Packers play a home game, and that's a whole fiasco. So we had to change locations and all sorts of shit. Thank you, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, appreciate that,
Yeah.
Packers.
I love the Packers, but like, fuck.
Man, what motivates me is everybody else walking.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
Everybody that's in front of me, that's just motivation.
Yeah.
I love it. So
One year I decided for some reason to carry a stupid heavy pack, and there was a bunch of people that were asking about it and saying like, why? What's the point? And I said, because when I get to Stadium View and I walk back out and I watch some of the people that are the stragglers, the people at the back of the pack come in, and one year we had that lady. Remember that gal? She was I believe an Army veteran.
Yep.
Who came in?
Yeah, she was carrying her dad's or her brother's dog tags who died, who committed suicide post like Vietnam or something.
And this lady, 60-some years old, just slogging it out.
Yeah,
Smile on her face.
An
getting it
hour
done.
behind the second to last finisher.
An hour late.
An
She was
hour
still out there
later.
getting it done.
Good
we
for
went out
her.
to pull her off the course, and she's like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. And I went, that's why you carry the heavy pack. Because even it doesn't matter how much weight you put on my shoulders, I'm still more prepared to do this than what she was.
Yeah.
And that gives me so much motivation. And seeing you out there, I know you don't want to hear it, but seeing you out there gives me a ton of motivation.
yeah, I appreciate that.
What's my excuse? When Will and I decided to carry the 100-pound rucks for the Selcon Marathon, you were on my mind from the time we came up with the idea to that last step. And I'm thinking, how do I quit? What have I been through? How many surgeries have I been through? Not many.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, you've been such a huge
It means a
motivator
lot
for me.
to me.
And I mean, we ran this thing. We're almost an hour and a half already, so we probably need to wrap it up pretty
Yeah.
soon. But
Yeah, 'cause
we
otherwise
got to get you
editing
back on,
takes
man, because
forever.
there's. Oh, I
There's
see.
there's 5 minutes of editing for every 1 minute of talking.
Selfish.
I got to teach Jason how to edit.
I'm out. I don't have
Yeah.
that kind of attention to detail.
No, it's fucking worth
But
it.
yeah, man, I really
It's worth
appreciate
it.
you guys having me on. Man.
Dude, and
It's been a blast.
you're gonna be back on here for sure because
Yeah.
you are exactly what Forever Unbreakable is.
I appreciate
You
it.
know, somebody who's just fucking relentless and just keeps getting up and getting after it.
Thanks for bringing that up, Will. We almost lost track of the.
Yeah, there's
The
two
flow.
questions. There's two questions I got to be asked yet. There's
Dan.
always two questions.
What's unbreakable mean, huh?
Yeah.
What does Unbreakable mean to you?
Never give up. Never give up and just keep pushing for whatever goal. If it's a small goal as to get to the next day at your job or something like that, whatever it is, just keep on pushing. Take that next step. So that's what unbreakable means to me.
Legit.
That's perfect, because that's basically what it means to me too. Is like no matter how far down I get in life, I just got to take one more step,
Right.
and then I got to take the next step, and just I can't quit.
Don't worry about the future. Just take that next step and you'll just keep pushing.
Yeah,
Love it, man.
whatever
Love
it is.
So I hope that when I ask you this next question, you're not going to tell me surgery number 48.
No.
Well, that
Well,
is
you already-
probably
yeah, actually, that's
probably-
inevitable. We said how long? When are you doing that?
I saw the surgeon yesterday.
All right. So you're not allowed to use
next
that.
month or so.
Yeah, that's what next is out of the question.
So Will always likes to ask people, you know, what's next? I mean, what are you going to do? What's your next obstacle, the next hurdle in your life?
Mine's to actually try to open up another Max Muscle in another state.
No shit. So you're gonna run two businesses,
Right.
The same business, but run two locations.
Yeah,
two
there's a
separate
guy
stores.
that wants to retire out of North Carolina. He's in his 70s, and he's looking to sell. And
Oh, that's
he's
your,
the guy
that's your
that,
wife's hood, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the guy that actually gave me a bunch of free stuff when I was injured, and he's the one that gave me that job with the civilian
Yeah.
insurance. So I think that's our next goal.
Right
That's
on. Is that
crazy.
going to take you out of the area?
No,
Because I'll sabotage it.
No, it's
Yeah.
not going to take me out of the area. I'm staying here in Wisconsin.
All right, man. All right. Love
Good,
it.
good, dude. But that's crazy. Like that's a huge step, running
Yeah.
two locations in two different states.
Yeah,
For sure.
That's a huge step.
For sure.
yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
why you have good people around you to help you push forward. So
That's been my key. You know, I've been running my business sort of remotely for a while, and the biggest key to establishing what you guys would probably call decentralized command is knowing that you can trust the people on the ground, and that's got everything to do with it. And there's some, you can have some leadership skills, and there's certain things that you can do as an owner, as a leader, to try to make that transition and make that move more comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's for the people who are on the ground and the front lines are responsible for executing your vision and your mission.
And you got some good guys working for you. I'll tell you
Don't
what.
I ever, man.
I haven't
Don't I
had
ever.
one complaint from anybody that came to my house.
They're studs. They
Oh,
really
yeah.
are. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. Coming from you, that means everything. So I really appreciate that.
And I really respect everybody on your team.
All right. Well, before we all start making out, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to sign it off, Jason. Man, that's
right.
the thing of being the host.
Being the host.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? I don't even know.
You just say like this is the end of Forever Unbreakable.
Oh, hey,
episode
this has been
19.
Forever Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Episode 19.
Stay
We're out.
unbreakable.
Did I do good?
Yeah, you did pretty good.
All right.
You did pretty good.
All right. Good night, everybody.